It's The Lesson with Mr. Clark on Lake Effect Radio.
You gonna learn today. You gonna learn today. All right, all right, all right.
Hey, welcome back for another episode of the Lesson Radio Show. This is Mr. Clark coming to you back for our third week. If you tried to listen to episode 2, we had some technical issues. I was actually going to call that episode No Technical Files, but it actually ended up being a huge one. So the whole episode is gone. So I'm encouraging you guys to stop in and listen with us live at 7 p.m. on Mondays, 7 p.m.-ish. We running on a little
after 7.
Little CP time.
Right.
Let's see.
Just a little bit.
Just a little.
Just for now.
Just like 5 minutes. Yeah. We'll be
Maybe
alright.
3.5.
We'll get there.
Right.
On livestream.com/Lake Effect. You can also call in. I'll give you that call-in number at the end of the show. Or you could message us on YouTube and we'll get it and we'll answer those questions live. If you want to ask questions to the show, I know we just got to do all this pre-show stuff.
I just want to interject that you're going to show me how to do that stuff.
Absolutely. See, bridging those generational gaps one step at a time.
Because I can hang, you know, right?
Of course. We the ones who can't hang. And ask questions at askthelesson@gmail.com.
Awesome.
All right, in the studio with me again is, go for it,
Miss Cherie. Elise Cherie, rather.
Hi, Elise Cherie.
Hi, everybody.
and
Miss G, girl.
Miss G girl.
Hi, Miss G girl.
She said, she said that was my original nickname.
It
and I
was.
ain't gonna have y'all out here being all young.
Well, you know, I bought into it because, after all, everybody else has 3 and 4 names. So why not?
Right, look.
Right?
Yeah. It's the age of multiple identities.
And you gotta compartmentalize them,
Right.
them personalities.
Right.
You really do.
Oh, you really do.
You really
That's
do.
true. Right.
Like, okay, I'm Mr. Clark here,
Mm-hmm.
son else there. No, they all my name. It's just different ones. It's the-
Hi, I'm Miss Huffman. Her.
Right.
right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And then you be too professional. You be like,
Wait a minute.
That's
now.
because I'm going by that name. That's what that is.
It brings that out of you.
Y'all want to tell me how y'all weeks went, or y'all just want to jump straight into the segments?
Jump
Probably.
straight on into it. Why
Yeah.
not? Okay.
So this week we're gonna start with our life lessons, and we're gonna toss it to you, Miss E.
So, I guess a teachable moment. Maybe a teachable moment. It didn't happen to me personally. I know we always share personal stories or whatever,
Correct.
but I just wanted to go on the field of, what's happening now in the mainstream and the masses. So, of course, last week, we've seen or experienced the backlash with the Nina biopic, because apparently they dropped the trailer to the Nina Simone biopic. So hopefully everyone knows.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh.
For those of us who pronounce words differently, it's biopic that she said. I'm not saying, no, I know. I'm not correcting your
Potato.
English. She said, hold up.
Potato.
Y'all should have saw that face. She waiting.
Tomato.
No.
Tomato.
Yes.
But some of us don't necessarily say it that way.
Yes.
So if you're confused out there, the word is also biopic.
Interesting.
Right. And it is funny because I was listening to a radio station. I think I was in D.C. and somebody was talking about it. And they said, yeah, the biopic. And it was like, did she just say biopic? But, tomato, potato, all of that. So, anyway, I encourage you all to do a little Google search. That's a teachable moment there. And learn about the resplendent Miss Nina Simone and what she stood
Where's
for.
my dictionary?
She did pull out the SAT
Yeah,
word
she
real
went
quick.
there.
I'm like, all right.
Okay. Getting it out.
But
And it's all good, right?
Yes, yes. But so there was backlash because, Nina Simone, she's an African-American woman. She has African-American features, the broad noses, the, larger lips or whatever. And she has this mahogany skin tone that is just amazing, and they cast someone like, well, not someone like, but they cast.
Was it Dondi? Or?
No, it was
Zoe Saldana.
Yes,
Is
Zoe.
Zoe?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, as you know, Zoe Saldana, she's Afro-Latina. But with this, they had to, because she's markedly
They had
lighter,
to paint her.
They had to paint her. They had to put her in blackface. Not only did they paint her, but they gave her prosthetics to make her nose.
And you know what? I was looking at it, and I was like, if they would have just left her natural, we probably wouldn't have been mad. Because you know what? Right next to her, it does give us a feel. Now, I saw pictures of India Ari, who looks much more realistic to the role. I also saw Yuza Aduba.
Yes.
They could have used her. Who
Oh,
looks a
yeah,
lot
from
more.
Black is the Orange is the New
But
Black.
when they decided they was going to do her and put them prosthetics on.
Yes, and that's where the backlash came in, because it's like, here you have this woman who, you know, was initially ridiculed for her skin tone, for her features or whatever, and she rose above that and became the force that she was in spite of that, or despite that. And she celebrated that. She celebrated her blackness. She celebrated, you know, her features and whatnot. And you have someone that really doesn't look that part. So to me, that was kind of tone deaf on the part of the producer and on Zoe, because it's like you're erasing what she's proud of in order to put something out.
Well, you know, I would agree to a degree on that. I would say that I fully support that viewpoint from the perspective that African American actresses, they talk about this all the time, how they have to fight for certain roles and how there are not enough roles written or out there for them. And you mean to tell me that you have this pool of African American actresses that you can pick from, and you go do that? Now, on Zoe's part,
I mean, she
you
went
know,
with a
sometime when you gotta work,
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
she,
you might have to work.
You gotta get
Maybe.
yours. I understand that.
Yeah, maybe.
But, you know, it's just...
And
I
they
don't-
stand from a publicist's standpoint. She thought this was going to be her opportunity to turn herself into like a more serious actor.
I see. Okay.
So she kind of was like, okay,
If
this
she
is
need an
it.
agent, you know, Miss Huffman.
But, I mean, and it's, like you said, it goes back to your point. If they would have left her as is and she would have had the chops and she really would have really brought that Nina Simone, that would have been fine, because you had people like Jeffrey Wright, who played Martin Luther King, who was lighter than necessarily Martin Luther King, but that wasn't the point. It was about bringing his message, about bringing his persona to the screen. And so she could have did that, but I just thought it was kind of a slap in the face that you got to do all this, and you have the likes of everyone we mentioned, Viola Davis, everybody. So that's just, you know, my teachable moment. Sometimes you have to test the waters, I guess, and not be as tone deaf to the perception that you put out there. Especially now when we have all this black girl magic going around.
Ooh, it is some black girl
Yes.
magic going like crazy.
This black girl, you know, so you have to kind of put the feelers out there. And I think they did, but they just didn't care and went along with it, because this has been in the works for like 2 years. So even then, there was like, wait a minute, Zoe?
Should have paid attention to the initial backlash.
Exactly.
What kind of, well, it doesn't play, but it's a good segue. Putting those fillers out there in the beginning and then seeing what that's going to be. So, my topic is the consequences of poor networking tactics and the ability to go home after you've left. So, I actually want to start the story because we start all our stories with a hot topic, and then that's the lesson in the hot topic. So this week's hot topic is kind of like still pretty much allegedly we on the windy side of it, and it's been like disputed by Gossip Cop, but I ain't care. I was like, you know what? When there's smoke, there's a little fire, so
Yeah.
I'm putting it out there. So we have Kanye West moving out of his home with the Jenners to move in with Jay-Z and Beyonce because
What?
they had a dispute.
Well, hold on, wait a minute.
Wasn't we
Wait,
talking about
wait,
that
wait,
last
We
time?
did talk about
I
some-
must have missed this.
Yeah, I did
But you. Oh, so you telling me that I was on point?
No, you were. I think you was on point, and it just this right now. I think it.
I don't know how true it is, but this is the gossip that's out there that he got into an argument with Kris Jenner over the Puma contract with Kylie, and he actually said some words that maybe he shouldn't have said living in their house, and she was like, "You got to go.
Oh, it was serious. If he had to go,
Go for it."
I have a question. Why is he living in their house?
Okay,
Because
they
we know
all
why.
been
Because
living
he's
there.
$53 million in
They
debt.
actually had bought a home, I believe, and then the home was so marketable, or the housing market was so good that they decided to sell it. So they moved back in with Chris instead of living on their own.
So
So
you,
this
And they've
has
been
been
living
going
with
on for
Chris
like a couple of years. This
Living with Chris
continuum, like they were gonna move and then they
Right.
saw opportunities, so then they stayed where they
thing.
were.
So they're gonna keep buying houses and flipping them type thing.
but most people who are in the upper echelon of, you know, finances or whatever, they just go and buy a penthouse and they just rent that out
Right.
for astronomical like salaries a month. So I mean, maybe they're being financially savvy and saying, you know how you teach us,
with
don't go and go.
pronunciation.
Yeah.
She said "sorry."
They have
I've been
to-
watching a lot of Game of Thrones.
Oh my gosh. Okay, that's another conversation. Okay.
So my point in that story was like, I don't know if I'm Jay-Z and Beyonce. He caused quite a few frictions. Like, you always leave home right. That's the lesson I've been taught. And you network properly.
That's right.
You network properly. So when he met them, he didn't necessarily know too much about them. He was just all. This is my opinion, you guys, and I love Kanye West. I do want to disclaimer that, but I feel like he was all in when he finally got them. Like, oh, they the glamorous. This is like a good marketing move. When it really turns out, it looked like they took them in, sucked them up, and pushed them out.
But
And
that's
now
what they've
he
been
gotta
saying.
go home to Jay-Z and Beyonce, where he kind of. I remember this one comment he made that he feel like there's some animosity Beyonce may have towards Kim because she wasn't feeling hanging out with her, and it might be a Kobe Jordan thing. And I was like, wait a minute.
It's not even a comparison.
They're not even in the same
It's not even
game,
a
okay?
comparison.
If Beyonce is in the NBA, she got to be like at elementary school starter basketball. Like, why would you do such a thing and then have to come around back to him? So that brings me into my lesson, because I had quite a few situations where I'm just not feeling it. Like, I feel like the time to decide whether or not you want to solicit someone to be a part of your network is at the very beginning of meeting them. That means you don't necessarily have to know where this person comes from, their financial background, their level of education. If you met that person and you engage with them, that was your opportunity to vet them for later. Now, if you figure out later that they will be a good addition to your network, I'm not feeling it. You know why? Because now I know you in it for a motive, and I'm not gonna allow you to do that to me. So that's
Oh. I don't know how I feel about that.
that's been my general question to you. Okay, so for example, I have to bring a personal life story. Like, I've been moving and shaking as far as networking, and there's a few people I've met in the beginning who didn't want nothing to do with me because they thought I was just regular. I was just a student here. And when they figured out, oh no, he works here. Oh no, he has his degree already. Okay, he's doing that. Now I was like, hey, what's up? And I'm like, no, not what's up, because now you corny to me. Back up off me. So I wanted to know, as the mentor and as someone older in her career, how did you feel about my perspective of that? Because I'm just not feeling false, phony networking. I'm not on it. Like, back up off me.
I've been having this conversation with a lot of people of a different generation than I am.
Okay.
And I can dig where everybody is coming from on that. I really can. I can totally embrace the fact that I don't do phony and nobody should do phony. But see, phony is different than moving strategically.
Right.
But, okay, go ahead. You finished?
Okay, it's different than moving strategically, because there are people who have done the same thing to me, who have decided upon initial meeting that I am not on the level to be in their space,
Right.
and then they found out that I'm a rock star. Okay, and so the ball in that instance, the ball is in my court. I could use that as leverage.
Right.
I can use that as leverage for things that I may need, things I've identified just from the interaction I've had with that person or just observing that person. Because though I may not like what you did, I know what you can do well, and I know what you can do for me. So it could be a quid pro quo kind of thing. It could be I need something from them. And people out there to say, I don't need anything from anybody. Okay,
But
whatever
if
you say.
really don't need nothing from that person, do you allow them to feel like,
You
I just don't like
just
that.
never know. You
really
just don't know.
Then I could
Be
see your,
friends.
No, but see, that's the whole thing. That is not a requirement to be a friend.
Exactly.
It's not a requirement at all to be a friend. You know, most of the people I associate with are just transactional peers.
Right.
That's it. But I can appreciate what other people do well, and if I need something that they do well that I may not do as well, or they can do it better than me, I am going for it.
But do you take my point as the people actually need to start vetting from the very beginning, allowing that interaction to be less artificial?
I see your point from a friendship standpoint, maybe. But when it comes to business, sometimes you may not know exactly in the beginning. You can't align yourself with everybody in the beginning because you may not know what they're about or whatever. Now a snub, like, you ain't doing what I'm thinking you're doing, so I'm not going to, I don't like that part. But like she said, that's when the ball is in your court, where you observe and you keep that in the back of your mind and you use that to your advantage of what you need to do.
It'll be up to you to decide if you want to allow that relationship, if you're going to have a relationship, to move forward in any kind of way. It's always going to be in your court. I don't make good first impressions. Never have. Ever.
I don't
never.
Either.
You used to tell me you thought I was mean.
I didn't think you was mean.
That's what you told me, didn't you?
I said she clicked into other Gina, other Miss G girl on me, and I was like, whoa, I wasn't ready for that.
Well, but to give you a chance to know, who you're dealing with. I'm just saying, from my perspective, I've never been a person who makes a first good impression, not at an interview, not upon meeting you, not anything. So, for people to embrace me, right at the beginning, I may be leery, like you said, because they may have an agenda for me or whatever. Right. I would be leery about that if they may have an agenda for me. I would rather it's okay. I know we are not, but it's like dogs sniffing each other. We trying to figure it out. We trying to figure it out, And so I'll do the figure it out dance. And if it don't click, then at least
let it go.
We can be courteous to each other. Right. But if it do click, we'll keep finding our way back to each other.
And I have an experience like that where, let me see if I can talk about it. One of my managers, we didn't click right off the bat because he's always like, well, you need to smile. Why don't you smile for me? And I'm like, I'm not put on this earth to smile for you or whatever. So I really didn't say I didn't like him, but I just didn't fool with him. I said, you go and do whatever you want to do. Turns out he the one helped me get my promotion.
Right.
And so, we didn't click right off the bat, but after a while, I started talking to him and whatever because I don't make good first impressions. I can be kind of cold in the beginning. I don't like to embrace people right off the bat because folks crazy.
Yeah, people be serial killers.
Exactly, literally.
So
it's y'all trying to say I'm tripping?
No, I'm not saying you're tripping.
See,
it's just
she made a good point. She said from a friendship point of view, and we're saying that. But
if people come at you with the business term on some friendly conversation, like, and friend part was over. If you want something business, come to me business like.
But you trying to impose what your wishes or how you would do something on somebody else, and we're not alike. All of us, we're not alike. Some people dance around stuff. Some people don't know how to be direct. Some people are not good at it. Other people, they know just what to do and how to do it. Some people are offended by stuff like that. So that's why I think, doing the dance is okay,
I think the millennial generation comes from this thing where was you in the gym when I was shooting around?
Where was you when I was shooting in the gym?
Exactly. Meaning that if you wasn't there from the very beginning, I don't need to have any dealings with you. Whereas older generations, you don't necessarily have to be. You can bring, just like the Jordan thing. When Jordan first got to Chicago, the team wasn't really that good.
That's right.
And then he brought in, the Scottie Pippens, he brought in the other players, and they meshed well. They brought it together. So that's the older generation that sometimes you may not have all that you need in the very beginning with somebody. You got to pull that in and pull that out once you feel everything out.
I think for the older generation too, the way we kind of gave props to people that we was watching, or we thought we may or may not want to have interaction with them, is we would just be like, I see you. I see you. You know, it'd be like it'd be a nod, it'd be a big up, or it'd be like, you know, I'm staying in my lane kind of thing.
Yes.
You know, all of those things. And, and then as things progress, you know, using the Jordan analogy, people start to be like, you know what? Dude about his game. And that's who I am, and I want to be part of that. So I'm going to take it to the next level. Maybe I'm going to show up at the gym and do a shoe around with him.
Okay. To move on from that a little bit. Okay, now we said you ain't come in right, but I let you in. We in there kicking it. We in the Jay-Z, Kanye West situation. But they feel like they find a bigger brand, a bigger team. They move on. Kind of leave you in the wind. Maybe they do some things for the other team that they wouldn't necessarily do for you. This is the consideration factor, because, okay, I feel like I have situations right now where people offer a lot more consideration to other people than they ever would have offered to me. So let's say I got something going on. I need somebody to promote it for me. They won't necessarily promote it, but someone else who doesn't do who I know for a fact doesn't do as much for them, they'll promote it without even them asking. Or let's say we're in a situation and something smart or shady is said. Now, if I say something back, oh, you made so-and-so feel this way. I don't think, you know, it's nice for you to do that. But if someone says explicitly something flat out shady to me, they don't even acknowledge it. So I'm to the point where I'm like, okay, you have all this consideration, all this understanding from this person. You're trying to help this person out this hard. But when I've done things for you, you haven't reciprocated for me in that same way. So now I'm feeling some type of way about them and you, because I'm not sure. So this would be, for me, if I was a Jay-Z or a Beyonce or Kanye West, I'd be like, look, bud, you chose that team, wear that jersey, play over there. This, what you used to get over here, that's not available to you no more.
But we make good music.
Sometimes,
You know what I'm saying?
But we make good music.
You know, that's all I've been saying, is that you just got to recognize what level of play is going to be between y'all. Unless it's just an all-out brawl, fallout. Unless it's that, where, you know, it's X and it's a rap. Unless it's that, then you know, people move in different directions. People start doing different things. People grow. I got people who don't mess with me no more, you know, like they used to.
Do you address that? Or you
Why?
just let it be?
I let it
Because,
be.
like, I'm not about to let you sit around and it not be right either. Like, either we're going to fix
It
it or
is,
you're going to
but
be
see,
done.
I guess from an older generation, it is right, because that's what it is. So if you should decide to come back to me, I'm going to deal with you on the level that you dealing with me.
I think it's more so you can't bring your feelings into transactional business dealings, because
Well,
it's always going to be.
let's separate them then.
Okay.
Because in what situations? Give it to me.
I mean, like, if somebody in your situation, now I don't know in that specific situation if that person is giving more attention to the other person because they may have known that person longer, or
They're vibing more
exactly
strongly with one another because of their interest or some
Exactly.
kind of way they're linked.
So it could be that, like, you know, she's my ace from back in the day. I'll rock with you, but she's my ace from back in the day. So
Okay,
whatever.
we'll go play on that team. Let's see how many
No.
scores you point.
But you
How many
can't. But you
points
can't
score.
have that. You
No,
can't
but
have that
no.
attitude about it, because that's just how things are. You know.
That's how things are for some people. Remember you told me you have to train people how to treat you. Right now, I opened up a kennel. All you can get cages. Like, y'all gonna get it right.
you can. But
You can train people how you want to treat you, but I think that's a different situation than what you're describing, in my opinion. I think that you have to decide if you want to play with them. If you want, because if they playing and they don't want to play with you, or if they want to play with you in a limited capacity, you have to decide how you want it or not.
All right.
Let them go play.
Well,
Because you gonna do what you gonna do, and you gonna get where you gonna get, and however it turn out. And I'm tell you, I can tell you from experience, when it turned out, those who didn't want to play with you, they see you.
Right.
And from a personal perspective, I'm not going to treat you any differently than I left you, but I'm not going to play with you like that because you didn't want to play with me like that. And it's cool. It's all good.
All right. I guess I learned the lesson today. I had to push a question out there. I really had some insight. I wanted some things I wanted you guys to learn. Like, in my head, all networking should be on a cordial basis. Like, it ain't nothing for you to be cordial. Don't come in with this air about you that you only want to meet certain people in the room. Okay, because if you find out I was one of those certain people later, certain people ain't going to be feeling it later. Some of us you have to catch in the beginning. And then some of us are different where we can, it don't matter when you catch me, this is a transaction for me. Now, most transactions for me aren't necessarily transactions because people don't come to you on a transactional basis. They come to you, hey, what's up? I'm in this. I heard you was in that. And that's buddy-buddy to me. Don't come to me buddy-buddy. If you want to come to me on some transaction, come to me on, hey, I'm doing this. I see you doing that. We should link up. That's the transaction for me.
That's what you want.
That's what I want if you didn't catch me in the beginning.
Okay.
But sometimes people, I mean, when somebody come at me transactional that way off top, I'm looking at them like, wait a minute. You know, depending on the situation. Sometimes, just like she said, people don't know how to approach certain situations. They don't know that you want them to come at you with a transactional if they want something, or they don't know if you are someone like me who I would at least like for you to get to know me on at least a surface level before you go into some transactional whatever. So they don't necessarily know how to approach you in dealings when it comes to stuff like that. So
here's what I suggest.
I hope we ain't sit on this one for too long.
No, but it's a good topic.
Yeah,
it's a good topic. So here's what I would suggest. It goes back to what I said about training people how to treat you. That's what you have to do with every transaction that you have. However it go, you're going to figure out how to start to engage and train people how you want it to be done and engaged with you. That's what you have to figure out, or that's how you have to train them. So if I came to you and I wanted you to do something, and I was like, Mr. Clark, listen, Mr. Clark, you know,
in the back of my head, I'm like, what you want?
Right, in the back of your mind, you like what you want. So as I'm going through this, I would expect from what you're saying, and I would suggest from what you're saying, that your response would be, if you want me to do something, just ask me. Right. And that's how you train somebody. So then that person knows how they need to give it to you so that you are all right with it. And what's more than that, they'll go tell everybody else, oh, don't go there like that. If you trying to conduct some transactional business or whatever, just bring it to him. He don't like the beating around the bush thing. That's not who he is. And so that's where you train people who you interact with in order to get them to do what you desire them to do in interacting with you.
Right. Well, all right, you guys. We're going to take a musical break. Let the air clear a little bit. And then we're going to come back with financial literacy. Hey, you guys. Thanks for sticking with us through our musical break. We're back right now with financial literacy. I need to really start
Literally, we're back with financial literacy.
I need to start talking slower. I think that's what it is, but I don't want to give you that quiet storm voice all the time.
You have a good quiet storm voice.
Do I really?
Yeah.
Well, right now, we're going to talk about minimum wage. I want to actually talk about the effects of raising the minimum wage, because I'm not going to get too deep into it. I just want to open up the topic so you can go out there and do your own research, because I didn't come to any conclusive decisions, because there's not a lot of conclusive information out there, despite my efforts. And I actually was taking it so seriously that I ended up calling one of my ex-economics professors.
Well, that's good.
And even he didn't want to give me a definitive answer to my question. So I'm kind of just going to leave it open.
What was your question?
I wanted to know how raising the minimum wage, because that's one of the federal topics of conversation right now, whether it be $12 or whether it be $15. I wanted to know how that would affect the wages of skilled workers because minimum wage is more so for low skilled or no skilled workers, how that would change the income of skilled workers or the purchasing power. Because let's say they do increase the minimum wage to 15. Now, if you are already making 15 to maybe like around $19, that's a pretty general time wage frame of a skilled worker, right? That's their bachelor's situation.
Okay.
What does that do for your income or your purchasing power? Because you can make more money, right, to keep up with the changes in minimum wage. So if you were making 15 already, you probably should be making somewhere around 22. But did your purchasing power change? So what purchasing power is the value of the dollars you're actually getting. So if you, let's say back in the day, $1 got you 4 Little Debbies. Today, it barely give, 2, 3. So if an increase in minimum wage causes that inflation to where Little Debbies are now $1 a piece, and you could afford it back in the day with your 15, but now you really can't, even though you got a pay increase. What is that conversation?
Can I spit this back to you like in street language?
Go for it.
Okay, because I'm
I'm an economics.
well, but I
like
this.
Too much.
No, but I like this because you're giving it out as to how it would get taught in school, and that's cool. Okay, we need to understand that, but we also need to understand what it looked like when you at the store.
Right.
Okay. So, just to kind of summarize what you defined as purchasing power. Just to summarize, so me, Miss G is at the store. I'm a skilled worker. I just got off of work. As a matter of fact, I got my stiletto heels on. I got my Gucci purse.
All right.
Okay, and I'm going to buy some Little Debbies. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Then there is, let's say, who?
Susie Carmichael.
Susie Carmichael. And she's showing up to get some Little Debbies too. And she got on her work uniform, coming from the shop where she puts together and makes pieces for cars. And so we just heard on the radio that Susie Carmichael is getting a raise. She happy about that when she arrived at the store. And it's a whole bunch of Little Debbies. So you telling me that because she got a raise, I'm not going to be able to get as many Little Debbies as I used to be able to get because she got more money to get more Little Debbies?
No, not Susie Carmichael as a person. Susie Carmichael as in everybody at that wage level. So if they change that wage level from... I actually looked it up. It's actually $7.25 on a federal level, but in Ohio it's about $8.10. I ain't even gonna do that. I'm gonna stay humble. I was like, I ain't applying for no minimum wage.
Well, listen, it's people. I mean, I started at minimum wage, so you can understand when I talk about my stiletto heels and my, my Gucci purse that I've worked my tail off to get there.
Right.
So you mean to tell me? You mean to tell me that, now that somebody who doesn't have or did as much as I did going to be able to get a wage increase, and whether they do right by it or not, they get to get more Little Debbies than I could?
No, not as a person, but as a whole wage level. So it used to be $6.55, right? They moved it up to $7.25. That was within the time frame those Little Debbies price change. So whenever they change it for that whole class of people, that affects the economy as a whole. Now, Susie Carmichael as a person, if she get a promotion, Susie ain't affecting nobody. But if all the Susies in all of the United States
get a promotion,
we all have we got some issues we need to address.
So are you saying that this raise that everybody is going to get, will this increase the prices of what we could pay for currently?
Exactly.
Okay.
So the pros and cons. So they were saying raising. I'm just throw those out there. The pros of raising because this is a major decider on who you're gonna vote for. So I feel like people needed to address this question a little bit better. Because back in the day, they was just like, whenever they talk about raising minimum wage, know that that's just a ploy to get votes.
Okay.
So I just address it skeptically from now on, because I know in the long run, although you're making more money, you might not even be able to afford the same amount of things that you used to be able to afford. So the pros, economic stimulus. So they're saying that by giving the lower skilled workers more money, that they're going to stimulate the economy because they're going to purchase them more. And also reduce expenses for social programs. So there's going to be a significant amount of people who
That's
are no
not
longer
going to happen.
Exactly. And then it combats inflation. So every year inflation goes up due to whatever factors, and you need to raise the minimum wage to accommodate that. Now that I do understand, and I think we need to actually move away from the minimum wage and move to a living wage, which is a wage that is directly tied to the cost of inflation. So each year it would make that percentage change, opposed to waiting, letting you lose purchasing power over maybe 10 or 15 years and then trying to accommodate you after the 10 and 15
So
years.
why does no one promote living wage?
Well, I've heard that term tossed around in the debates that I've been hearing and the ads that I've been hearing of a certain
living wage.
Yeah, the living wage terminology, saying that you should be making what you need to make in order to accommodate for what stuff costs right now. That I've heard that living wage term. I also heard the minimum wage prior to the primaries and all of this, but I've been hearing living wage more often in this, primary election season, that specifically from one person, rather. He's been saying living wage as opposed to minimum wage.
Well, this is why they weren't a huge proponent for it in my economics class. So basically, when they raise minimum wage, what do you think the corporations are going to do to combat that? Are they going to really dip into their pockets and lower profits? No. They're going to pass the cost of those wages onto the consumer. So that means the prices of goods and services are going to go up significantly, and that, in effect, has no effect because
you're basically at the same space
you were in before. So there's basically, conceptually, no reason to actually increase the minimum wage other than to change the prices on things. You get to see the numbers change, but your actual purchasing power doesn't change. If it does change, not significantly enough. Now, that readjustment of prices takes some time, because you can't just walk into a store and have everything be different because there's substitutes for things. People who would have bought steak now buy chicken. So those things are allowed that adjustment to be slow. But in the long run, which is what they usually talk about in economics, things pretty much balance out.
So how does, when I think about this, I think about gas and how gas jumped significantly in 2007, 2008 area, where people were paying $4 a gallon, and minimum wage at that point was still $6, whatever it was before the jump. So how does that, where you saying it happens over time, where this was like a jump, like it went from 0 to 60 in 2 seconds, for real? Gas
play their own game. It's just what they
was feeling. Well, that's what
like.
cats say. You at the pump making life decisions. Between gas and food, or gas and medicine.
And then the want to go ahead?
Go.
The other point that I make was the cons of it. So I remember the very first time my economics professor, I don't remember which one, but he walked in class and he said, "This is how I'm gonna start this lesson today. What would you say if I can guarantee everybody employment?" And everybody's like, "Yeah." And I was like,
full employment.
I need to hear that. He was like, "Well, that's the purpose of follow-up questions. Because in order to have full employment, we'll have to have everybody around $5. Yeah. Everybody needs to be employed, and they can choose amongst those that they want to choose. And maybe those people who were making $5 at the time are unemployed now because people with significantly higher skills have to accept that wage." So, just be skeptical with a lot of the stuff they putting out there. Now, I'm not telling you who to vote for and who not to vote for, because it all sounds good, and I'm leaning towards it. I just want some explanation. Tell me how.
How you plan to
combat all the things that are going to occur because you made that decision.
And that's fair, but of course they never tell you.
Right, because instead of using our debates, I remember back in the day, them debates were so sophisticated. CNN was data checking by the minute. Ain't nobody data checked nothing, because ain't nothing valuable being said. I was like, I'm not supposed to be able to. It was a time where you had to have a significant amount of education to keep up with a political debate.
I remember times where I had to have my laptop out
Like,
to
wait.
go. Wait a minute.
Hold up. Whoa.
But now it's like a dang on reality show.
And that's the discouraging part, because
Yes.
now that I'm old enough to actually participate and understand and go back and research later, there's nothing to research. Like,
Well, I think even for people who hadn't gone to school or don't have or haven't
Right.
had an in-classroom experience with a professor,
Mm-hmm.
you had people back in the day, pundits or political people or people who could speak on the topic, to be able to explain it on both sides of it, academically and to the regular lay person where everybody get it. They don't have people like that, to me, as much as they used to, because the quality of our knowledge is not all that great anymore.
It really ain't.
You used to could. Hey, Tim Russert. If Tim Russert say it, you better believe it's gold. Listen, I don't know what half of these other people out here talking about, and if I could really count on them being really knowledgeable and telling me, how things are and how to look at them, if they really know, or if they faking good.
right.
I think
That's discouraging.
a certain side is really faking it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Faking it good.
I don't even think it's faking
it's
it
not
good.
good.
It's just like, I know you faking it. It used to be where they faking it. You really couldn't tell unless you had that certain knowledge or whatever. But now it's like, I know what you telling me is a bunch of BS. I know you up here peeing in my face and telling me it's water type thing. And you expect me to say, oh yeah, it's water. No.
Well, what's unfortunate is for people who don't know how to discern, they taking it. They believe it's water.
But see, that's exactly, and I don't want to take sides or whatever, but that's exactly what that other side is doing, that they're speaking to the ones that don't know and don't have that discernment. They're instilling fear and resentment and all of that in those types of individuals.
Well, they're playing the game to the hilt.
I'm going to need them to stop playing games, because ain't nobody got time.
Right.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
So those were our final layoffs. Oh, I didn't even mention layoffs. I just mentioned price increase. Or the two final kinds of raising the minimum wage. Now, there's a lot of great things that could happen. There's a lot of realistically bad things that probably are going to happen. So price increases, layoffs. So if I have a workforce and I have to now pay them double, because we're currently at $7.25 federally, and they're talking about $15 federally. So that's more than doubled. So now I'm going to have to eliminate half of my workforce because I'm not paying that out of pocket at no point. And we're going to invest heavily into machinery opposed to having actual people. So while some people will make $15 and maybe there won't be any inflation for that specific product produced by that company, there's a significant amount of people on government assistance now. And then the final is applied inconsistently. Now everywhere doesn't have what's the word I'm looking for? Everywhere's cost of living is not necessarily the same.
That's
so
right.
a $15 increase in New York or Ohio or California or Arkansas, where very little people are going to have significantly different impacts. So maybe somewhere we're over increasing and some other places we're under increasing. So those are the strong arguments in contrast of increasing the minimum wage. I think we should, unless we're really, I don't like Band-Aids, and I feel like we've always discussed minimum wage and economics as a Band-Aid. We need a cure. So if you're definitely interested in changing poverty, why not increase the number of applicable jobs in the market, which will naturally drive up the wage?
But the job part is also a Band-Aid, because you still have these greedy corporations who are going to increase or keep their profit at whatever cost they have. So if they got to have more jobs, they'll have more jobs, but it won't be paying as much as it used to before. So I think the solution part is more so regulating some of these corporations and what they can do, because they always going to find a shortcut, a way around.
Absolutely.
Something that they can undercut to say, okay, well, the government regulates this, just like they did with shipping the jobs over to overseas. We have to have these certain type of regulations in place. We have to have medical insurance, all of this. Why don't we ship it to a country that doesn't require that?
Mm-hmm.
And that's how we keep our profits at the level that we have.
Absolutely. That's what that all kind of plays into creating more jobs and creating sustainable jobs. Now, if we prevent companies from moving them over market and we create new jobs in the market, right? Now we have an increase in the demand of workers.
Mm-hmm.
And we still have a limited amount of workforce as of now. And unless people decide to move out from the black market, which could be a significantly good thing. But because we have a growing need for a workforce, but a stable workforce, now we have to pay people more to transition. So that creates job mobility, and that's the big grower of natural wages is mobility. If I have the choice between working for factory A or factory B, and factory C comes and they're offering significantly more, now A and B have to get their things together if they want the skilled or higher productive workers to benefit. Now, when C is doing significantly better than A and B and they're paying people more and they're creating more product, A and B have the potential to fall off out of the market, which would keep that wage high. So only companies who can actually compete at that level would be in the market. So it actually helps create competition as well. So
Well, what if they did increase minimum wage, like you said, to double to $15 an hour?
I'm scared of it.
Well,
But
you know,
they've done it in some states now. Some states, they have increased. They went to 15.
Well, what was now? There's so many different factors. What was the inflation rate in that state afterwards? What was it before that they actually were using the minimum wage to address? Maybe inflation was so high in that state that it was actually just catching up to what people were supposed to be making anyways. But in other states where inflation was null to low and we do make that increase, now they have to compensate for the over increase. So it's just on a state on it. It's maybe in my I don't know. I'm still young.
I think
like
minimum.
I
think if you double, this is just a theory. I think if you double minimum wage, because what I'm listening to as we talk is about what government should do and what corporations should do, but what should we do? So as the person, so if it was a situation where minimum wage was raised and it was $15 an hour and we have full employment, that means that somebody, is not taking less. Some people need to get laid off, which means you squeeze some people into perhaps becoming entrepreneurs.
Right.
And
I don't think that's a bad thing.
I think that's the way we're going, where, that's the way to counter these large corporations is to do the entrepreneur, is to create these high growth companies that are able to employ whoever has been pushed out of this increase by the corporation. And I think we're moving towards that, because you have so many startups now that are going on. You have, and I keep coming back to Black Girl Magic, but you have these corporations or these small companies that are doing big things.
They're doing big things.
And they're employing people who have been not aged out, but who have been out of that market, the job market, for a while. So because they
got pushed out,
right.
or they got in that age group where no one would employ them, but they still got mad skills or something.
Right.
So now you have these opportunities for these entrepreneurs to get this talent, acquiesce this talent, and figure out how to get the people who are now making higher wages purchase all kind of different stuff.
And the way this is happening is that, they're not taking the government assistance. They don't have these corporations dollars. These celebrities and these high earning or these people of affluence are starting to invest in these type of companies.
Yeah, because they need to keep their money going too.
And that's how. So they're taking out the middleman. They're taking out the government. They're taking out the big brother, and they're saying, "I'm going to invest." A prime example, Nas. If you've seen his investment portfolio, oh my gosh, he's macking that. He's investing. He's giving scholarships to Black and brown people to go into these tech companies and whatnot. So that's kind of where we're shifting towards. It's a slow shift, but I've been noticing that, more startup companies are coming out, which means the jobs. If we support small businesses, we have Small Business Saturday. if we support
Right.
more small businesses, this is how we kind of stimulate the economy more than just going by what corporations say and going by what government regulates.
And this is why healthcare is so important, because if you do have this squeeze play where you have full
Right.
employment, where you have people getting X'd out because they're getting laid off, and they do make the leap and decide they're going to do something entrepreneurial, it is a lot off your chest. It's a lot off your head if you know that if you get sick or your family member is ill, that they can go to the doctor.
Oh my God! I actually wrote a paper back in college on how restrictive healthcare is on mobility. Like, a lot of people really won't leave their job because they
That's
fear
right.
that they won't find an
People
equivalent
are
health
just
insurance
people
plan.
are just working for the health
Exactly.
care.
Right.
And you know, my dad is of the older generation. He's in his 70s, so he's of the generation. Okay, if I say I was going to work part time, do they got health insurance for your part time? Like, he afraid, like, you need some insurance now. You need some insurance. So it's like, but it doesn't give me necessarily the opportunities that I want. So you got to decide if you want opportunity, or in case you go and get sick or something happens, am I going to work at this dead end job just because of that?
Right.
It's a hard choice, but I think this is why I like the move toward this universal health care, whatever you want to call it, and whatever people feel about it. It does allow you some freedom to say, you know what? I'm going to go and do something else. I'm going to give it a shot. You can always re-enter the job market if things don't work out. But you're right, it's restrictive in such a way that people will not leave. And if I can't get the same cancer treatment that I need if I don't work at a company, I'm not leaving the company.
Right.
It's not happening.
Well, that's all we have for financial literacy this week. If you have any follow-up questions for us, you can pass those along to us at askthelesson@gmail.com. That's the email address. We're going to take another short break. I hope this song is as short as I think it is. And then we're going to jump right back for our final segment, which is Senior Seminar, where we talk about not sex, not politics, not race, but we kind of do, just not in reach of the teacher. All right, in a minute. Everybody, welcome back to the Lesson Radio Show. This is Mr. Clark in the station with Miss Isha Ray. How you pronounce it?
Isherie.
Isha and Miss.
Gee.
And we're here for our final episode, which is Senior Seminar. So, you want to do your hot topics first? Or you want me to go first?
You can go first.
All right, give me...
I don't know if I have any hot topics.
They're not really hot topics. It's just what's in the news right now. We're going to do it rapid fire style like you told us.
Okay.
So, this week, I only have 2 for you. I was supposed to have 3. Ohio primaries tomorrow. I want everybody to get out there and vote. Polls open at 6:30. It doesn't matter who you vote for. Just make sure you vote. I want the biggest turnout that we ever had. I think this election has been the most publicized. So why not be it the most publicized, most polarized? So let's be the most polled. How about that? And I also wanted to address Senate Bill 180. That's in Kentucky. They're actually they proposed a bill that would protect proprietors who have chosen to not allow certain patrons to solicit their products and services based on religious views. So while I also feel like it's a win by knowing who doesn't want you there to not go there, because I would rather you not make my cake than you make my cake and spit in it.
Yeah.
But we have to be careful of taking 2 steps forward and 1 step back. So that's why I want everybody to look into Senate Bill 180, put out by the lovely people in Kentucky.
Senate Bill 180. All right.
Next up, you got something? I know you did. I know you did.
I didn't know how I wanted to bring it.
We can talk about it. I didn't necessarily want to talk about mine because I knew that would be confrontational, but I definitely wanted people to go out there and research it. But yours is kind of soft, so the station won't have any issues with it.
Well, you know, I mean, if you wanted to think about it, it's okay. I was just going to plug that we needed to start our book club.
Oh, yes.
Absolutely.
You know, and that in talking about research and things that we should be well-rounded and we should know about.
So did y'all notice, I'm sorry to cut you off, Miss G, but did y'all notice at the beginning of the show we was like showing our wretched side, kind of talk about hot topics, but kept it analytical from the academic, and then in the second part we went straight academic on you. So another purpose of the show, in addition to being multi-generational, is to show you that there's two sides to everything. There's a wretched and there's a royal. We need to work on both of them.
Wretched and royal.
Wretched and royal.
So, you know, after some discussion, we made a book list. Some of the books we've read ourselves, we've talked about, and some of them we intend to read, and we hope that the listeners will join us in participating in our book club.
So for after the show, it's kind of not an after show, it's a continuation of the show. If you're interested, we're going to be reading the 4 agreements.
Let's read it, everybody. It's a very short read.
So let's all read that together so we can analyze each chapter we're going to analyze a few chapters per show. We'll let you know how many chapters we're going to analyze per show.
Knowledge is power.
And we're trying to encourage people to read, but also understand the lessons in what we're reading.
Absolutely.
There's
Thank you, Charlemagne.
Mr. No, I don't play them games. I hate that he called himself the God.
Well, I mean, that's another topic.
It's a moniker. I get it. I get it.
The base guy, people, you know, they call whoever the base guy was, you know.
I don't like playing with that word. He's like, look, he said one and only.
That's why I call him Charlemagne.
Right, see, Charlemagne. I guess my topic is the double standards that we have when it comes to relationships, specifically. You got the Ciara and the Russell Williams thing, or Wilson, I'm sorry, thing, and everybody is, not everybody, a certain male demographic is kind of butthurt about, that she basically moved on and moved up and did a glow up. But no one, where was this backlash when Neo was married? And the girl that he was with, you know, had his child, and then she got a, what are those things called, where she can't have children anymore. Yeah. And then he done moved on and married somebody else and had a child with him.
She got her tubes tied.
Right.
Yeah.
No, she got her tubes burned.
Yeah.
So
she got them burned.
So now
it's a wrap.
It's a wrap for real, and it's like, you know, where this is a double standard. You got two kind of couples that were in the limelight where everybody is like, I can't believe Ciara did this, and I don't, you know, Russell Wilson, he settled for her because she done been this and that, and she was with Future or whatever. But where was these same certain demographic of men? I'm not gonna call them what they are, but where was they at when Neo did his thing, and now
they didn't defend her,
right? And now this woman is out here. If she meets somebody else, she can't have children with anybody else after that. Nobody said anything about that. So I just think it's a double standard.
You feeling a certain type of way?
I do feel a way. You know what? Leave that woman alone. Leave that couple alone. She didn't deal with the certain demographic of males.
I actually really like Future. He get me through my workouts.
Okay, maybe I'll give him regularly a chance then. But I don't know right now.
But if you listen to the lyrics, why would she want him around
That's
her?
What I'm saying.
And he's disrespectful to her. He says like, I choose the codeine over you. I'm like, well, okay.
Right. Like he does these things that are just so deplorable, and you expect her to want to be with this person? Like he didn't want to be with his son until he saw somebody else being and taking care of his son, and it's like, oh well, he can't just take care of my son like that. Well, maybe if you was doing what you were supposed to be doing and not talking about codeine and women, you wouldn't be in this situation.
I am totally in the dark about what codeine is, but that's okay.
But what is that? The lean?
I'll find out.
The lean.
What?
Yeah.
That's what that is?
That's what that is. It's codeine, pop,
We gonna pretend like we don't know that much, at least.
I mean, the only reason why I know
I'm
it is
just
because
playing.
they
He always
The wretched and the royal.
The only reason why I know it, they did talk about it on
What
Dr.
had happened
Oz.
was they was talking about it. That's how I know.
I do not partake.
I'm just playing. He put the ingredients in every song.
He does, but
made.
they talked about it on Dr. Oz because they were saying how kids are getting these things, and it's just everyday items that you have in your house.
His feelings is
Very
hurt. His feelings is hurt. That's what it is, and this is how he is responding to it with all of that rhetoric and that behavior.
And it's just he's just part of that certain demographic of males that we know the term. I just can't say it.
Oh God, Lord have mercy. I just put together what you was listening.
See, you gets me. But yes, so that was my topic of the double standards.
All right, you guys. That's senior seminar. What has been popping in the news. That's all we have for you this week. Thank you for joining us. If you have any questions for the show or some hot topics you want us to address, you can always send those over to axthelesson@gmail.com, or you can catch us live on livestream.com/Lake Effect, where you can watch the show live and actually chat with us and ask live questions. We actually have a call-in number. I'm not going to give that right now because it's on my phone and I'm using my phone to do Facebook Live. But we'll definitely drop that off to you next time. And we appreciate you joining us. See me next week when I do my young show / solo show. I'm still scouting for some young co-hosts for me, and catch us in the next 2 weeks where we're going to come back with our new segment, Book Club, where we'll be reading the 4 Agreements with Miss E, Cherie, and Miss
G.
All right, you guys.
Bye.
Thanks again. Bye.